our dearly Miss Soul Shifter, because you already know. Um, a couple of entities and people thought this wasn't gonna keep happening, but yeah, it's gonna keep happening. We're in fucking Gemini season, communications all over the place, technologies all over the place. That's all fine. We just have to be persistent, determined, and remain passionate about the shit that we do, because there be beings and entities that be, okay, with low
Mm-hmm.
vibrations that it literally took us about 30 minutes to get on here, okay? Just so you can see how persistent we are. Cause
Mm-hmm.
she's like, no, I'm like, no, 1 second, we're gonna get this shit together. Cause we're gonna go on. We're gonna go on live. We're gonna send these messages out, and because we already know people need them. We're in a season of maximum ascension, and it's not just for a chosen few. It's a lot of people now, and a lot of people have no guidance. So this is why we're here. So welcome to the Divine Feminine and Masculine, okay, reading live for the new moon in Gemini. Now, I do believe that it's like either 16 or 18 degrees in Gemini as we speak, which is definitely calling for spirit asking people. Actually, I'm 10 degrees off, so it's 6 degrees in Gemini, and it's asking the collective to create safety within connections, relationships, or how you communicate, how you approach certain people, certain relations, certain through the way that you communicate, right? How are we going to create safety by applying those boundaries? Why do we keep repeating the same conversations? It's like, why are the same words floating around? Why are we being triggered by certain things that people are saying? Like, all of these energies are kind of like swirling around with the season that we're in right now. Not only because it's Gemini season, it's also the new moon in Gemini, but also remember we're about to go into another Mercury retrograde very soon. And Gemini and Virgo are ruled by Mercury. So even when we had the new moon in Virgo, or was it a full moon in Virgo? I'm not sure, but I knew it was one of them. We were having these discrepancies in how people were communicating with each other, and constantly having to have these repetitive conversations. And also be aware that these repetitive conversations can be conversations that you're having with yourself. Things that you keep reiterating to yourself, things that you keep saying, well, I'm going to do this, and then your actions don't follow that thing. So you constantly have to keep having the same conversation with yourself to bring yourself to the action. So take account that it's not only going to be with other people and situations, it can also be with your spiritual journey and what you're encountering vibrationally with yourself. You have anything to add?
What I was gonna say is I keep hearing the word stay disciplined, and it's like disciplined in your practices, disciplined in your beliefs, like disciplined in the way that
Hello.
you communicate. It's like a all encompassing way of like staying highly devoted to self at this time. And I feel like this new moon in Gemini is bringing out like a lot of creative energy, which Gemini is an air element. So it can keep us in the air, right? In the clouds. And so it's important to ground at this time to really be disciplined, like you mentioned, and staying passionate and also using communication to actually speak the things that you need versus, like you said, old patterns of maybe just saying what people wanted to hear or appeasing other people in connections. I think this new moon is really helping us like up a level and really dive deep into the way that we communicate and really asking ourselves, like, are we asking for the things that we need? Are we being clear? Like, are we being honest with ourselves about what we actually need? and want in relationships, in life, and where we're not happy, starting to make those changes.
And are you being realistic with what you're asking? Whether it's a person, God, the universe, a manifestation, it doesn't matter, because a lot of the shit that we be asking for, we're not ready to make the sacrifices for. Or we're not ready to let go certain relationships, certain friendships, certain people, certain ways of thinking, certain ways of speaking, of expressing ourselves, to be able to get to that next
Mhm.
evolved state of ourselves, to be able to express those things. And yes, hello, Leo. You must really want to be seen.
And I think it's important that when we manifest big things, I think people think, oh, okay, like I can wish for it and I'm going to get it. And you will, but you have to go through the period of dismantling or healing, right? The parts of you that have been pushing that manifestation away in the first place. And so I think that's what you were talking about earlier. It's like we have to become like a vibrational match for the things that we actually want and need to be able to hold space for them. So I think it's important too that instead of wishing on a certain person or like a certain and getting specific in that way, opening yourself up to possibility too of like what's best for you. Because sometimes I think we can get so focused and control on what we're trying to manifest, but a lot of times spirit has something bigger for us, right? And so we're actually closing ourselves off to what's trying to come in also.
That's very true. And also, I'm hearing spirit say there's no such thing as selfishness.
Mhm.
Because for you to be selfless, you have to be selfish. In the sense of, I have to be able to give myself the things that I one day want to give to somebody else. Because when I do give them, do I really want to like wait for them in return? Or versus you already been having the ability to give them to yourself. So when you're giving out these things, these advices, these expressions, having these talks, like, you're not waiting for these things in return from other people's situations and things that are going on, because you know how to practice these things for yourself. And another thing that you said that I'm gonna piggyback off of is, yes, we have to be a vibrational match, because remember, the things that you say have energy and frequency behind them. So you might be saying something, but you're not even realizing what frequency that thing or that person or that situation is relying in, or kind of like thriving off of, despite the fact that you might be giving all of these extra higher vibrations and not getting that in return from those people, situations, and things, which in return will just lead you right back to having the same conversations, doing the same things, and not being able. And what the other thing that spirit said was, you said it right, because these vibrations and these energies are coming through the air, which is the Gemini season that we're in. So how are you communicating these things? How are you not only communicating them, but breaking them down to yourself, so you can be able to overstand and understand what you are going to either receive, um create the cause and effect of, because of the way or the vibration and frequencies that you're saying or doing things with. I hope that that makes sense.
Mhm.
But I feel like this is exactly that energy. It's so airy, and it's so like, you said it, we really don't know what we really want at times. We think we do, but
Mhm.
sometimes, most times, spirit knows better.
Mhm.
And it's because it can see all potential outcomes, and most times we get fixated on an outcome.
And I think that like learning the art of detachment and like surrendering to like trusting that the best possible outcome is going to happen no matter what, because that's just how things work out for you. It's like a level of trust that will actually start to bring in that type of energy, that type of frequency. Into your life. And I feel like, when we talk about like devil energy, I think it's chaos. It's what feels chaotic, right? And
Yep.
so if relationships are feeling chaotic, if they're not feeling like a safe place, then that is your body telling you, right, that that's not the best relationship or connection for you or the best environment for you. And so I think learning, right, to listen to what our body is telling us, paying attention to the information that like we're receiving from spirit, or, you know, paying attention to red flags, you know what I mean? And just allowing ourselves to like know that we deserve better and not to settle, not to be in connections, situations, or anything that feels like chaos, really choosing peace for ourselves, whatever that might look like in your life.
Well, instead of trying to bring it out of somebody else to give it to us, pretty
Yeah.
much. And there's the other thing that you kind of sparked up. It's that thing of like, yeah, we have to know our own value, and we have to know these things. But how are we going to know these things if we, like you said, we don't know what environments we're in? For instance, I'll give you an example. I'm doing a reading, and the person's like, well, I'm sick of this and I'm sick of that. And I said, well, when spirit told you what it was going to be, you looked the other way and still went down that path.
Hmm.
So you can be upset of what transpired and how you're being triggered now, because now it feels uncomfortable. Now you're being triggered. Now you're being dragged to create the change. Instead, when spirit was telling you to choose yourself at first, you didn't want to, because you wanted so badly to control how the other person was going to bring happiness to you instead of how you was going to bring happiness to yourself.
And I always tell my clients too, like your present life will show you, right? Like where you're blocking yourself, where you need healing, where you're feeling triggered, right? And so if we take that time instead of, like you said, trying to create what we want with the person that is like not working. It's like I communicate very well, but it's like if you don't hear me after like the second time, like I'm done, because that means that that person, right, is not taking like the initiative or wanting to grow or do the things that they need to do. So I'm not going to sit around, right, and wait until, so it's like that you like nailed it on the head too, because that's something that I really struggled with, is that worthiness wound, right? And I think that when you grow up in toxicity or you grow up in environments, you don't really know what love looks like or what's normal, right? You have like a higher tolerance for toxicity too. You know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah, which is so fucking, it's so weird,
So
because
it's like,
then you get out of it and you're like,
well, it's
what?
like you don't know what you don't know, right? So it's like
Hmm.
if you never knew real love, then it's hard for you to go out and find it because you don't know what it feels like, right? And I think that that's why so many of us, especially during like the pandemic, were really asked to slow down, to reconnect with ourselves, to really like reassess, like, is this really what I want for my life? Am I really happy? Am I happy in my job? Am I happy doing this? Am I happy in this lifestyle? And, you know, a lot of people started really shifting the way that they started doing things. It gave them that open perspective. So it's like if we continue to open ourselves up and to really start to ask ourselves, like we talked about, what do we really want? And to be able to fill our own cup where we're not like seeking that outside validation or that outside love, knowing like, okay, I got me, I love me, and I know that I'm going to attract what's meant for me by just filling my own cup. And that's how I'm going to get the person I want, versus trying to control the person I'm with and trying to like ask them to change and do all the things. It's like that's how we know that that person isn't in alignment and that we're learning a lesson. So it's like we're being asked to step into our power and say, you know what, I deserve better than that. And I'm not going to settle anymore. And I'm going to move on if, you know, you're not going to do A, B, and C.
I totally agree. Now the other, I'm getting a download straight hot right now from spirit, right? Talking about how the body keeps data, okay? The muscles, data, the 70% water that's running through your body. It collects memory. So you have to remember all of these connections and relationships and things that you were in that were emitting all of these toxic energies and frequencies and things. They're still ingrained in your body. They're still ingrained in your body. A lot of you aren't doing Tai Chi. You're not doing yoga. You're not doing deep tissue massages to yourself. You're not washing yourself with certain spiritual baths. You're not doing certain things to take all of these old all of these like old informations out of your
It's like
muscular
a
system,
it's like a
or
purging, like, and
it's
it
like a
and it
purging. And what a lot of people are not realizing is then you go and you lay down with the next person or go have a relationship with the next person, and now a lot of these patterns and things are remanifesting again in different ways, because of course it's a different person and they're going to see it from a different perspective versus you, and you versus them. But it's still the same thing. And this is why I always tell my clients, doesn't this feel like the same person with a different face?
and I feel like spirit, like, amplifies it, right? So it'll be like it'll get, like, a
Yes.
little bit harder, a little bit
And a
more
little bit more
toxic.
darker, a
Yeah.
little bit more violent, a little bit more, because it's devil energy. Like, when are you gonna check this?
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
Like,
when are you gonna wake up and realize you deserve better than what you're allowing?
well, and that's I just told a client this morning. I'm like, you have to realize that the same very things that you're allowing are the same very things that you're ignoring within yourself.
Mhm,
So you're allowing these people to mistreat you, to talk to you any type of way, to gaslight you, to lie to you with all of these follow up things they're gonna do and never do them, and then you're still gonna believe them. You're gaslighting yourself. You're mistreating yourself. You're
mhm,
lying to yourself because you already know that this is not going to happen. So all these
mhm.
traumatic experiences, you're actually creating them to yourself.
Absolutely. And I think that it's when you're in that situation, and I know that there's like science that backs up, like, being around narcissism actually changes the way that your brain thinks and the way that you like, see yourself and see the world. So it's really important, I think, for people that are in situations like that too, to really like give themselves a lot of grace, like give themselves a lot of forgiveness, like finding community, right? Like doing things that make you feel like yourself again, because I feel like for so long, like, people strip you of like, all the best qualities are the things that they try to pick apart, and I feel like you move away from those things. And so getting back to like what feels good and what lights you up, I think, is really important, to when you've been in like that type of situation. And I think that that's why, like you mentioned earlier, like the yoga, the tai chi, like somatic practices, along with like positive affirmations and positive self talk, really will help like reprogram, not like the subconscious mind, and also, like you were talking about, helping the body purge, because like you said, the body remembers, the body stores, and it's
Yeah.
important that we are working with our body too, because it's like it's not like a one and done session. It's a process. It takes a long time. And you have to, work with your body on like multi layers, right? Like making sure you're putting positive, like high vibrational foods and things in, and what you're consuming, and emotionally working on yourself. And,
There's this. Okay, so I'm getting a download for divine masculine, right?
okay.
So a lot of you are struggling with how to balance or contain anger or violence in darkness because of the violence, emotional violence that you had to deal with being raised by either a single mother or a single father, whichever one it is. But it feels like this parent was either like beating their own insecurities like out of you. So now that you're in these like relationships with divine feminines, a lot of you, when this woman makes you feel inferior or makes you feel like you're less than, or you're not amounting to whatever it is that that relationship needs or that woman needs, a lot of you go into this violent streak. And it goes back to the storing of the information in the
Mhm.
body while getting beat,
It's like
because your
feeling
parent was
powerless.
frustrated and
Yep.
couldn't figure out why the fuck their life was the way that it was.
Mhm.
And now a lot of you don't know how to process those emotions. You have to practice your divine feminine energy. We said this in the last reading. You have to tap into your divine feminine energy, spirituality, motion. Motion is one of the most ancient medicines there is. Tai Chi, yoga, all of these things, that's all motion. How you move the body and the energies and transmute the energies within the body. This is another reason why a lot of you don't want to deal with emotion at all, because you don't know how to process them.
Well,
And we're not supposed to sit
emotions,
in them.
yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Emotions are is energy, right? In
Is
motion.
motion.
But
Yeah.
it's like a lot of us have been taught to store it, right? To like move on, not to, do
And
too
keep
much,
it
not to say too
stagnant.
much, or the other end of it, like you said, the anger, the resentment, the violence. And it's like, I don't think that anger is like a bad or a negative emotion, but I think you have to learn how to like express it in a healthy way. And
Correct.
so, what a lot of what you said, I think stems back to what we were talking about at the beginning about having that worthiness wound and not feeling good enough, right? And so then when you're feeling triggered and attacked, it's like you're reactive instead of responding, right? And so
Yeah.
like you said, we have to take a moment to be able to ask ourselves when we are being triggered, like, okay, what am I actually feeling? Why am I feeling this way? What's going on? And knowing that, when we're in a argument or whatever you want to say, a disagreement with someone else, and we're feeling triggered, there is something, within that person, but that person is a mirror for us. So really we need to take a moment to ourselves to process what it is that's going on, and then move back into the relationship after we've processed, you know what I mean, instead of, so that way we
Well,
can come from a place of responding versus like
yeah.
being reactive.
So this is a download I wrote while you was talking earlier, and I said, Spirit said, when you have to be around people that constantly have to tell you what love is like, you have to turn around and ask yourself what you know about it.
Mhm.
When that guy or that woman said, "Well, you don't know how to love, and yeah, because it has to be like this," and blah, blah," you really have to sit down and ask yourself, what the fuck do any of us know about this shit right now? Because love is unconditional. And if we can't sit down and communicate clearly with standards, morals, compassion, understanding, and no ego, I don't think any of us are doing it right.
Mhm. It's like that love is patient, love is kind, like, you know
Correct.
what I
It
mean?
doesn't
Love is
boast. It's not
accepting, you know what I
prideful.
mean?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And people don't understand that because of it goes back to the last reading we did with the Piscean energy and the religion and the all the woman is the property and the man no longer feels powerful because now the woman has more than the man and it's a lot going the fuck on.
Mhm,
So now the man doesn't feel like he has anything to offer because the woman gives it to herself. She works, she creates the job, she brings the food, she protects herself, she has the gun, she carries to for protection. She does everything that the man could do.
mhm,
And now you have nothing to offer. So what of course it's going to make you feel a certain type of way, but this is why you have to create this shift and start tapping into your divine feminine energy, because now you can offer emotional intelligence, now you
mhm,
can offer compassion, now you can offer nurturing, now you can offer self-deservance, worthiness, because now you're tapping into all of these feminine sides of yourself, divine masculine. We talked about this the last reading. If you didn't catch on to that one, go go catch up,
mhm.
because it's all these readings are bleeding into each other.
And I
So
think
we're going to
for
go into prayer.
and
Huh?
yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, I think a lot of, because you touched on, religion and things like that. As a collective, it's like we've forgotten who we truly are. So it's like a lot of us are in that self abandonment, and it's all about prioritizing ourselves and choosing ourselves and being selfish to be selfless, like you mentioned.
God just said, we are the altar. We are the church. We are the religion. We are everything. It's exactly fucking why if there's nobody in church, they make no tithes, they make no money, and there's nobody to preach to. We
Mhm.
are the body of Christ. What is it that nobody's understanding? You just said it correctly. And God is like, yeah, 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 that right there. So if we're not treating ourselves as the religion and as sacred, don't think that somebody else is gonna come and do it for you. Because at that point, it's getting fucking delusional.
Yeah. I think it all starts with self, and the way that you treat and love yourself is going to be what you attract back to yourself. And so
Yep.
I think if you're attracting partners that you're not happy with, it's like that's your way, just like you were talking about with the divine masculine. It's like when we're in that yucky space, that's the sweet spot. Like that's where we want to be with the awareness, because then we can make decisions and choices to move forward with the energy and intention behind getting what we really want and moving towards what we
Because you're
really
in
want.
self love. Yeah.
Yes.
Because you're in self love. So all of your decisions are being made from the intention of self. How people would see selfishness. Have you ever seen people who really love themselves and the people that really don't love themselves always be like, oh my God, they're so selfish. Oh my God, they're so cocky. Oh my God, they're so this. And it's just because it's being reflected back to them that you don't love yourself.
Mhm.
The person who's being called cocky and selfish, they know exactly what they want and they don't go outside looking for it.
Mhm.
They give it to themselves. So that's why we may appear as cocky and selfish and everything the fuck else. Because we don't need a church, a priest, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a marriage to tell us that we are important. We say that shit to ourselves. Hey, we say that shit to our fucking selves. And people need to get that shit to fuck together. Until you can't tell yourself or look at the sky and tell yourself, I am just as great as the universe, you will never be able to attract it in anybody else.
Mhm.
And that's just where we're at. So let's go with prayer because we're already
Yes.
30 minutes. Us,
Yes.
our Aquarius energy is just too much.
Well, I
We
think
we
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 get a
go
lot of
down
the
roads and
I
we
think
go
we
down
get a
the
lot of the
rabbit hole.
messages out during the channel.
Jesus, we do because then when we do the tarot, we do the
It's
tarot.
just
It's like, oh, that's
confirmation.
it. Yeah, it's really not. It's like, oh, that okay. Well, that goes to show that we don't need the cards, people, because we're connected, right? So let's go into prayer. Thank you, Father, Mother God, for waking us up today, allowing us to be an extension of you. Understanding, overstanding, and understanding that we're constantly connected to God, Source, spiritual guides, archangels, ascended masters, ancestors, anything that is high vibrational to get these messages across from this new moon in Gemini so we can be able to expand whether we are divine feminine or divine masculine or exploring both at the same time. Thank you for your love, your wisdom, and support every day. We're nothing without it, and definitely nothing without you. Thy is the sun, and the sun is me. It is the one, and it is we. The one that gives us polarity in life, it gave us evolution, polarity, and night. Two lights that derive from the same source and makes us in its image from the ultimate force. It travels through space and archetypes of mind where here and the below you can also find. As above, it is below. When we transcend, we return and we grow. Remind yourself of who you are as you come from the light of God, as you come from the shining star. And if you'd like to add anything, feel free.
Oh no, I was in prayer.
You was feeling it?
I always
So
I
stay with
always
me.
close my eyes and like go into prayer like when you say that. So I'm like in my zone. I'm like,
Yeah, me too.
yes.
Getting into that energy space. I heard some of you need to stop rushing when you're communicating. Rushing through your words, rushing through, and how you're doing it. It's because you want to manipulate, you want to gaslight, you want people not to know exactly what the fuck you're saying because you don't want them to know exactly how you feel. So
Go
it
do the
goes back
work.
into that energy of not knowing how you feel.
I feel
Divine
like,
masculine,
yeah, everybody is being called to do the work.
pretty fucking much.
Oof. I
Ooh,
pulled the
okay.
the moon energy, and it
Okay,
says
definitely, especially with the water.
emotions are running high. Look at the bigger picture, and your dreams need a practical plan.
Well, yeah, because of what you need to let go, allowing the higher force to take charge for a time.
Mm. And I think we talked about like that discipline, right? Like, I think that when you have a big dream and a big plan, right? A big goal, it seems really big. But when we take little baby steps and we have that disciplined practice, right? Where it's like every day we're chipping away. It's like that's how we make that slow and steady actually builds like a solid foundation
Mm.
versus like trying to rush and get there really fast or that like instant gratification. And it's not just with like business, but I feel like it's just like in life, right? So like with relationships or with your career, with your passions, and really asking yourself like, what are my emotions telling me right now? Like, what are they trying to show me? What are they trying to teach me? And how are they helping me try to grow at this time? Because I feel like the collective is definitely feeling triggered right now, and it's like using that space, using that those emotions for information so that way you can move forward.
I agree with that. And it goes back to what I was saying about the adrift energy and the rushing. Because they don't want to do the work, they're
Yeah.
rushing through it and like, oh, well, and then, like you just said, you're not receiving the information. You're not receiving the light codes. You're not receiving how is this supposed to help me? If anything, you're just looking at it, well, I'm fucking angry, and that's just fucking it. And then
Mhm.
the two numbers that I have here is 9-9. So this is about coming to the awareness that you're doing this, taking the time out, making yourself sit alone. Okay, why, like you said, why am I feeling like this? Why does this person make me feel airy? Or why is it that I don't feel safe in this relationship? Now, for a lot of you, divine feminines and divine masculine, whether you are the divine masculine, divine feminine, you've been dealing with somebody who's been trying to adrift themselves from a version of themselves that is not conducive to the relationship or the connection. Finally, they are adrifting from that old version of themselves. But Spirit is talking about how you still need to be able to have these times alone.
I
Not
just
just like always, oh yeah, just because we're becoming better, like no, there has to be time alone. There still has to be time of reflection. There still has to be time of being able to have the same conversations that you're having with these people with your fucking self. Go ahead. Because I'm like, do I have anything else?
um I forgot what I was gonna say. It'll come back to me.
It will.
Um
Mm. So then the adrift, sitting on
oh,
your
that's
back, sitting on your back of the water is letting the emotion carry you.
what I
And
was
a lot of
hearing.
people is we talked about it earlier. That's what a lot of people are doing it. They're sitting in it and not just like, okay, what is the current? What? Okay, why am I letting it carry me for so long? Emotion is energy in motion, and if you make it stagnant, it will create causes and effects in relationships, connections, diseases, and conditions within yourself that a lot of you don't even realize that you're dealing with because it has
um
become ingrained.
And what I was hearing too is that, like, for a lot of people that are in connection, um, that like masks are off. So I think that when people maybe in the past, because when you're dealing with like that level of narcissism, right? There is like that amazing side to that person, right? They know you so well, they know what to say, but um then they also manipulate. And so I think people that are in that kind of relationship, it can be hard to see sometimes because they have such a uh um like loving side to them, so to speak. And usually people in the community really like admire them also too. And I think that like masks are coming off. So it's like behavior that maybe they were able to kind of like play that trickery with you, or the illusion was there, or maybe it was hard for you to like really have the awareness to see like,
Yeah.
wow, this is toxic, like this should not be happening, like I deserve better than this. I feel like that is also coming to the surface, and that's why emotions are really running high, because I feel like for a while there were a lot of connections that were trying to mimic like divine connection, but I don't think that they were. And so I think that they're starting to fall apart too. And being open, like having your eyes open to be able to see and to be looking at things from a bigger picture, and asking yourself like, okay, like what is this, like what is happening, is this a pattern, like does this pattern keep continuing to happen even though they say x, y, and z. And so really just being in that like inventory process, kind of like taking an inventory and kind of seeing like where you're at, what you're feeling, and like you said, taking that time alone.
Because they're not making themselves the sanctuary. Remember when I
Yes.
said the altar and the religion and the everything the fuck else? You're not making yourself the sanctuary. So how are you expecting somebody else to put you up on that pedestal if you don't even do it yourself? It's talking about privacy and violate personal space and respected boundaries and taboos. Because all that toxic shit that we were talking about is all taboo.
Mhm.
It was just made to seem normal because we didn't know the higher vibrational side.
And we talked about that chaotic energy earlier. So it's like if it feels chaotic, then that's not what love is. Love should feel like peace, right? And so taking yourself out of situations, no matter what kind of situation it is or connection it is, no matter the title, right, of the person, and allowing yourself to move towards peace.
Which is funny because it says the return of Aphrodite, which she is the goddess of love. The dolphins represent the love, the happiness, the water. The water is now calmer. She's no longer drowning in the water. And it's talking about keep going and the endurance, right? But what's really catching me is the once you make yourself, bless you, once you make yourself the sanctuary, you get new air and you have new vision. The new
It's
air
so
is the breathing deep, entering into real life, exchange of life, bringing energies. Remember the energy in motion. And then the visions is the psychic images, the clairvoyance, the seeing the out of body travel, seeing yourself in the better position, the better relationship, the better vibration, because those are what visions are.
Mhm.
But it goes back to when we were saying what you're saying does not match what you're seeing. Or what you want to see is not matching what you're saying or what they're saying. So something has to change. You have to become the sanctuary.
And I feel like it's okay, right? It's like I feel like it's okay to start over. It's okay to
Oh yeah.
walk away from things that no longer serve you. Like it's okay to let people go. It's okay to be alone. It's okay to not be okay while you're moving through things. You know what I mean? And so I think that that's why building community and finding community is so important too, because it's like when you're going through this kind of inner work that we were talking about, where you really understand and overstand like who you are on a deep level, it can be very lonely and it can be very isolating, right? And so being able to find your people as you're going through this, I think is so important too.
Well, you're never going to find them if you're constantly in chaotic energy.
Truth.
That's why the alone time is necessary. Because you need to be able to reprogram yourself from these energies and these concepts. That's why the adrift, the letting go, the time out, allowing a higher force to take charge. Because what God is saying, and Spirit is saying, is that, well, you've been doing it for this long and it's not fucking working.
Hmm.
So something has to change. Let me take the charge and let me bring in the things that you don't even know that you need.
Hmm.
Let's go into the damn tarot. 'Cause, honey, this sanctuary energy is, and I got 10-10 too. So I had 9-9, now 10-10.
which is closing cycles and new
closing the cycle.
beginnings. And then new beginnings. And then on the cut, I just saw the shadow card, and so I
Hmm.
feel like it's like people are being asked to look at their shadow aspects to be able to move through them, to be able to attract, the light, the things that they actually want. And so it's like allowing yourself and knowing like we all have shadows. We all have aspects that we have to work through and
I
allowing
just
yourself to
heard
do
you
that.
have to be able to shine light on the darkness so it can run in, so it doesn't run and hide.
Mhm.
Ooh, the Emperor. Well, okay. This is a divine masculine, especially with this new moon in Gemini. We have the moon here and the Five of Swords. This is somebody who's going back and forth. Like, should I really cuss out this manager, this person, this boss? It can even be a father figure. For some of you, it could be somebody else's baby daddy or whatever this might be. But this is one man having to confront another man about things that were said, things that were kind of like hidden emotionally, whether it was between this divine feminine and the other person, like I said, or like I said, this is more of like a job situation. But this could also mean that this is more about a divine masculine being real with himself and the lessons that he's learning, and now the changes that he has to make because of those lessons that he learned within the household with the Four of Wands.
Mhm.
So this could be a Aries, Leo, Cancer, or an Aquarius or a Capricorn. But the energy is that the conflict with this divine masculine is that they keep trying to put it off, put it off, put it off. And then it keeps creating that conflict, that predicament in the household. And now what you're realizing is that now it's creating the same thing at your job. Because it's not the job or the household, it's the energy that you're carrying and the things that you're not doing or saying.
I heard stepping into their power, like
The Emperor.
stepping through with authority. Yep.
Pretty much. Going from toxic with the Capricorn energy, the devil, and the conflict, fighting off the conflict, and the moon is the breaking away of the illusion with the
Mm.
moon, right?
And
What you
it's
got
funny
over there?
because I got um like emotional withdrawal. And so there
Ooh.
being that realization that like I'm not emotionally getting what I need and what I deserve, and it pulling back the individual and really making them like question what it is that they need, because it's like this it's like the wheel is turning, and so it's like you can either move forward and choose yourself and what will make you happy, or you can fall into old patterns and you're going to get like stuck behind the wheel
You're gonna
and
spin the
continue to.
wheel again, and the same shit's gonna happen, just
Exactly.
worse.
Exactly.
It's like the wheel of fortune expanding, but in a toxic way.
So it's like the decision is yours. You can either like heal or you will suffer. And so it's like, what do you want? And the fact that you're not getting what you need out of a relationship is not a reflection of you, right? It's
Right.
a indicator that that might not be the right relationship for you. And so not feeling like, there's anything wrong with you, but allowing yourself to have that awareness that like you're not emotionally getting what you need, so that way you can walk away and choose better for yourself.
Which is funny because you just said that, and I heard Spirit say it's not that that relationship is not for you, it's that you outgrew it.
Mm, yes.
Or it's also the fact that both people just stopped wanting to grow. So it's not going anywhere. Nobody's learning anything. There's no expansion. It's like having a plant that never gives any fruit. Why the fuck is it there?
Mhm.
At this point, it's a weed. Rip it out. Because you're never going to get anything from it. It's not even medicinal at this point.
I think people are so used to settling in life that they often settle in relationships. Like, I know when I was teaching and I would go into the lunchroom sometimes and I'm like, every single one of these ladies hates their husbands. Like they're all, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But why do we stay in relationships where we're not happy? You know what I
How is
mean?
that love? So,
And well,
so it brings us back to that question. Like, how you walking around all day? I fucking hate my husband. He fucking annoys me. And but it's just like, we're just in love. Like it's just so contradicting.
mhm.
Those are two different totally energies.
And it's like you have one life. Like, don't you want to be happy? Don't you want to have the things that you want and you desire and like all the things, right? And so it's like stop settling, stop allowing yourself to like accept breadcrumbs when you deserve so much more.
Yes. Now the energy is shifting on me. Because we're talking about the Nine of Pentacles, the Emperor, the Star, and the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords, this is somebody angry of the fact that somebody's winning. God is putting somebody in the limelight, somebody's going viral, somebody's getting recognition, somebody's getting rewarded, and this person is upset. Taurus, Aries, Aquarius energy. They're upset at the fact that this person is receiving their flowers. Because whoever this person is feels like that person who's getting them doesn't deserve them. But it's only a reflection of how this person's perspective has no worthiness of self. Because in their mind, this is not possible for them. So how is it possible for you?
Mhm.
So instead of just being like, wow, I can see that as inspiration, this person is seeing it as, how can I taint this image? How can I make this person look into the opposite spectrum of how
Yeah, I
everybody's
heard like
viewing them?
deformation of character. It's almost like they're trying to ruin their character so that way like it's like people think that they didn't get there on their own merit.
Correct. But they did because it's the emperor again.
Mhm. And
This
I got
person
and I got spiritual strength. So it's like they went through the lessons, they learned the
and did the
lessons and
work.
gained the wisdom and did the work and they're closing out cycles. So it's like it's their time to be recognized.
Yeah, because I feel like they were hidden
Mhm.
for a long time. Yeah, and then the Page of Pentacles receiving it in the top of the deck, and it's 1919 on my clock, which is 1010. And then the Six of Cups, so reuniting with that recognition of self. So it's not only manifesting in the limelight of like everybody recognizing this person or rewarding them, it's also manifesting in the fact that the person is recognizing themselves. So I am this important. I am the light. I am the helper. I am the leader. I am the great father. I am the hierophant, the high priestess, the I am that I am.
And I think it's the person, right, that went from I'm not worthy to I am worthy. And so it's like now they're attracting everything that's meant for them because now they know that they are worthy of it and those things are theirs. You know what I mean? And so
And
I
then
feel
the people that are receiving the worthiness and the appreciation and the rewards are only the catalyst to these people that are trying to taint it so they can be on the same frequency for
yes, it's like their
themselves.
medicine. Yep.
That's what I've seen.
And also I think, it's like those are the same people too that I feel like along the way try to, like, slow the process, and so it's almost like they're watching now, it's almost like a show being put on, like, before their eyes, and, like, that person is, like, the main character, and now it's, like, part of their karma of having to watch that, you know what I mean?
It is part of their karma, but that karma is going to be part of their awakening because I just heard the
Yes.
judgment card.
Yes, it's to
It's
teach
a
them.
rebirth. It's like,
Yes.
okay, you just try to create all this death and transformation through a low vibration. But now you're seeing the show of how it's really done
Mhm.
type of energy. So are you going to emulate this and follow not the same path, but this frequency of how to get there? Or are you going to keep doing the same thing?
Mhm. And I think that that's, like, what this moon is really asking people, like, do you wanna step into this new way, or do you wanna continue in your old patterns?
Pretty much. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Gemini energy, the Ten of Swords. I got goosebumps too. The Ten of Swords, which is Gemini, but it's so funny because it's the closing of the cycles, right?
Mhm.
But at the bottom it says everything is fine. So I kind of feel like these are people that are like,
Mm. You
okay,
know,
these are people that are being rewarded for not having stability or not having what they needed and still being in the high vibrations through it.
I heard, because they had to learn to build stability and security from within. So now it's, like, going to reflect back on,
And you're so right because the Four of Wands is in reverse, which would be like the physical home. It's not.
yep.
It wasn't because of the home, the relationship, the because I had love or this. Is because you did the work as to changing your perspective that it didn't matter what you had or didn't had, you were still valuable. And with the Nine of Cups, you were still going to receive it. So you said this earlier. Be still believing that you're going to get your wish fulfillment, even if it doesn't look like you are going to.
Mhm.
Being in that energy of gratitude, or it's going to happen for me, even though all of my circumstances are telling me that it's not.
Yep. I think that's the power of energy, right? Because it's like the duality of it. Because it's a lot of times in your present reality, it'll be the absolute opposite of the energy that you're working on or what's coming through. So it can be very discouraging if you are not open. And when you were talking, I was hearing like we are talking a lot about Gemini season, and then I was like, oh, June, oh, summer solstice. And then
Yep.
I pulled from my shamanic deck, and I got the masculine energy, which is in the symbol of the sun. And so I feel like too it's like that stepping into your power, like owning your personal power, like stepping into your authority, because like you said, no matter what you have, you are valuable, and nothing outside of you defines what your value is. Like that's a non-negotiable. And so it's like stepping into that inner knowing of like, I am a goddess, I am a
A
god,
spirit,
I am the
honoring
temple.
your spiritual ego is what I just heard.
Mm,
The I know that I deserve this. I know that I am love. I know that
yes.
I'm worthy. I because it's that I know.
And like you said, it's not coming from a ego place. It's coming from like that heart-centered place of that inner knowing of just like, I know this is meant for me. Like I know that that's meant, you know what I mean? Like that belongs to
Spiritual
me.
ego, spiritual ego. And it's
Yes.
ingrained in people's minds because it's not it's not attached to divine masculine physical energy, a strategy, a plan, and action. It's attached more to a knowing,
Yes.
the divine frequency of
Moving in
if
faith.
God put me here, it's because everything will be provided for me.
Yep. I heard moving in faith, like that inner, that complete trust and just knowing.
Walk by faith, not by sight. Okay,
Yeah.
scriptures is coming through this whole reading.
Hmm. But I think that that's what a lot of people are being asked to do, like, no matter what, the repercussion is, or, like, who you're trying to protect or save or people please or whatever, it's like, no, like, choosing yourself, stepping into your masculine energy, doing and choosing things that are good for you, no matter what anybody else thinks, because it's it's your life, it's nobody else's,
Ultimately,
right?
it's about you, bro.
Mhm.
Like, it doesn't matter if you're a twin or you got a big fan. It doesn't matter because ultimately you're here to navigate your own experience.
Yep.
If that was the case, it would have been three personalities in one body and everybody just sharing that one body, but everybody has their own body because you need to share your own body of experiences with yourself. I got the Knight of Swords and then the Four of Pentacles. This is getting out of the energy of thinking that you have to get up and get it.
I talk about this all the time, like leaving that hustle culture mindset.
That 9 to 5, that, oh, I gotta clock in, that 50 hours a week, that, let that shit go.
I have to work really hard in order to
I
receive.
have to slave
I have to
and have no
perform. I
self
have to
worth.
earn.
No self worth of my body, mind, and soul, and the fact that I'm deteriorating myself to provide for myself. It goes right back to that same thing.
Yep.
There's a scripture in the Bible that says it perfectly. If you're going to follow me, let all things go. House, money, relationship, and I will provide everything for you. Don't think about the clothes and the money and the food you're going to eat tomorrow, and the I will provide that for you.
It's
No
true.
more running for stability. Stability is supposed to be grounding and grounded, not constantly doing this.
It's that shifted mindset from like I need to do, earn, perform in order to receive to like I get paid to exist.
Eight
Like
of
my
fucking pentacles.
energy is my currency and my frequency is expensive as
Eight of
so.
pentacles. Thinking that you constantly have to do the work. And let's be fucking quite honest. A lot of the times you do the work and you're not getting paid enough.
Mhm.
The conditions that are being caused in your body are not are not equivalent to the money that you're being paid. Because you're
Well,
sitting all fucking day and you're doing nails in your neck and your fucking back, and you're only 30 something years old and you feel like you're 85. Well, I wonder why. It's that
mhm,
having to get it.
yeah. And I think society like creates a lot of that, right? And also that need to like survive, you know what I mean? So you see a lot of people working multiple jobs and in order to and they become so busy and disconnected from self like on that hamster wheel of chasing that hustle, right? Of that that's what's actually blocking them from being open to receive in the capacity that they're actually looking for, where they won't have to hustle like that. They can just be in alignment with the things that they love that are going to bring in the most abundance.
And it goes back to the lack of self love. Because
Yes.
notice that every 5 years, every 2 years, the workload is more tougher. The living becomes harder, and it's like the hamster wheel. They're trying to see how much you are willing to deteriorate yourself by attaching yourself to things that you think are bringing you worth or
And that
value.
society says you have to have in order to be successful or
Happy,
seen or
successful, and this
together.
and that.
Mhm.
When in reality, you fucking die and you don't take shit with you.
And I think that energy too is also helping us with, like we talked about in the previous lives, with that
Mhm.
age of Aquarius energy and trying to build community. So it's like instead of us working harder, why don't we try to find solutions? Like, why don't we try to work together? Why don't we try to help each other? And that I think is the bigger picture of where the energy is taking us.
Create our own villages, buy our
Yes.
own lands, your own tribes, all
Grow
the
our own
people that y'all
food.
listen to, your tarot readers, your create groups, and let's put $20 together and $100 together and see what we can buy a land. 5 acres, 10 acres, and everybody gets their own little piece, and we all live happily ever after with a garden. People don't
Mhm.
think that way because we think that we have to work hard to get
Mhm.
it.
Yep.
It can be also simple.
And it's that I think that it's the society has kind of created like a that like eat kind of world where it's like I have to like take you out in order to like have
For
what
me
I
to
need.
succeed.
And so it's almost like yes, and so it's like breaking down a lot of like these beliefs, that these lies that we've been told, that we're actually holding on to, right? Because our body is storing them, and being able to break down these belief systems so we can break down this old world that we're living in and shift more into the world that we really want to be in. Because I think at the end of the day, when we really think about all people, I think all people want the same things. Like they want food, they want safety, stability, shelter, And so I don't think that we need to um be separating ourselves and dividing ourselves. We actually need to be coming together and helping each other.
You just said that, and it's so funny because I'm reading the advice to close out the reading, and watch, you'll see. So we're
Tell
gonna
'em.
go. We're gonna go into the advice. I don't know if you pulled out an advice for the reading, but I'm gonna take the sanctuary one for my side, and I think it's so fitting because y'all have to know, you have to learn how to make yourself the altar, the sanctuary, the temple, the because it's important. You can't expect people to treat you with sacredness, and you're not even sacred to yourself. So, with that being said, and it's number 28, which is number 10, which is the closing of a cycle, because I wish that we can all close those cycles that no longer allow us to move forward in these aspects of ourselves. The mer world has many beings, and one of our most secretive and elusive is the powerful Melusinas. The mother of all Melusinas is a twin-tailed mer being, part woman, part dragon, part mermaid, and part fae. And she is here to remind you all that there are times when you need to declare to the world, this is my time, and this is my space. For you, much time has been given to others, to caring for them, to looking over them, to watching for them, to loving them, bandaging them, soothing them, satisfying them, feeding them, and now it is your time. I don't know. Sounds like the whole reading, if you ask me. In the legend of Melusina and Melusine, it was said this great queen would have each seventh day and night for her own self and within her own sanctuary and temple of self. In the solitude of a deep and glittering bath, she would turn. We talked about baths. She would turn into her true self, utterly unobserved and utterly free. In the legend, Melusina's husband becomes so curious he violates his promise to her and invades her sanctuary.
Mm.
Interesting, huh? With that divine masculine energy I downloaded earlier. In the
Mhm.
anger, the violence, and the jealousy.
And when we think about it on like the macro scale too, it's the same type
It's the
of
same thing.
energy. So,
People, make sure you re-listen to this reading like a couple times so you can like get the light code because we talked about a lot.
mhm.
Okay, so the husband becomes so curious he violates his promise to her and invades her sanctuary. Not only this, he is horrified at who she is when she's alone, all because she's not that submissive little that you understand what I'm saying.
Mhm. She's
Melusina's
the
message to you.
goddess.
What happened?
I said it's because the goddess awakens, then she's the goddess then.
Exactly. During Melusina's message to you is that you have the right to unviolated time out, time alone, during which you can be free to look, be, sound, dream, and swim as you wish. True freedom within a relationship happens when each person's boundaries are respected. We talked about this. When each person supports times for solitude and recognizes the freedom that comes with trust, like I said with the download. Just because y'all both grow doesn't mean y'all constantly have to be together. And the conversations always have to be together. Sometimes that time of solitude is needed. So when you come to these conversations and to these meetings, the ego,
I
so you know, like clock it. True freedom within a relationship happens when each person's boundaries are respected. when they support for each other's solitude and recognizes the freedom that comes with trust. It has come time for now or for your partner to support your space, your privacy, your time alone, and your need for this time to be however you choose it to be. And if not, then this needs to be over. It is time for no one to invade or pry out of fear. Their exclusive rights to you are being diminished or betrayed. It is time for your relationship to step up a level into greatness, where the independence of each person in the situation is growing. The part of you that belongs to you alone is nurtured, respected, applauded, loved, and ultimately left to you to determine. Will you ask for this? Isn't this how we started the reading?
Gotta ask
The
for what you need.
questions you're asking yourself or these people.
Yeah.
Will you take this when it is given to you? And will you declare these boundaries to be sacred? In many cultures, men and women, individuals and genders have sacred spaces that is theirs alone. And it is a great taboo for others to enter into that space. This is your time. And may this taboo, this sacred space you set, be held in awe and reverence by all who claim to love you.
Mm.
By doing that, they will show that they do indeed love the entirety of you and the multitudes of you and support and uphold your freedom to be your own self unconditionally. The divination is you're in cramped quarters, shared bathrooms, and little privacy. Someone is not respecting you while you're at your most private moments. Your boundaries must be studied, redrawn, and then patrolled by you. Personal space feels either disrespected or as though it is diminishing. It is time for some space to be off limits to others and only available to you at certain times and only available to you at certain times. Disrespect will benefit everyone. Reverence for your personal space will flow through the respect for their own needs. Therefore, balance and mutual harmony can be achieved and maintained, creating a flourishing, healthy relationship not only with others, but most importantly with yourself.
Mm.
Because
The
spirit
best
just, you know,
relationship to have.
right.
When you were reading, when you first started the guidance, I was hearing that, that healing of codependency,
Hmm.
like needing or like wanting to be in a relationship, but not needing to be, like not needing to feel like you need someone to rescue you or to be whole or you complete me. It's like, no, I'm whole and complete on my own. And you just add value to my life and I add value to your life.
Yeah, when in reality, the value is within.
Yes.
And the reason why they can't find it is because they're constantly searching for it outside. Remember in the tarot what we said, constantly having to get
Yeah.
it. It wasn't
Well,
just
I
talking
think that
about
once you're in that
jobs.
place, you will attract someone who loves you and is adding value, but it's not coming from a place of codependency. It's coming from a place of like freedom and liberation. And like you said, like it's okay for us to both have our time of solitude and like that's okay. And I'm not triggered like thinking you're gonna abandon me or that there's, other things going on. So I think that that's like so important to note, like you can be in a healthy connection and you don't have to spend 24 hours a day with that person, like that's actually not healthy, and that you should have some type of like sacred space or time for yourself. And I love how you mentioned like other cultures having like gender specific, like
Their own
that's
times
your you
alone and
time. Yeah, because
revering it and holding it
yeah.
into a pedestal, because how are you supposed to have the best woman or the best man if you don't allow them to unwind, to love themselves, to do things on their own terms outside of the relationship, like not saying to disrespect you or to cheat on you or to betray you, but so they can have that area of exploration where they have the
Mhm.
opportunity to still grow and expand while still being in a relationship.
It's like they might go, like, play pool on Tuesdays or something like that, and it's
Right.
totally fine because they're not doing anything, but it gives them, like, time to build community and network and do the things, and then maybe on Tuesdays, like, that's your yoga night or, and so I think it's important, like you said, that and very healthy for people to have their own identity in a relationship still. It's not like a, you know what I mean?
Because just because they're a soulmate doesn't mean that you'll be doing everything together. Your soulmate
Mhm.
can be the total opposite of you, and they can be into punk rock concerts, and you're not going to be going to those.
Yeah.
But that's their thing. That's how they unwind. That's what speaks to them. So you have to allow them to do these certain things. Oh, but the here goes the codependent person. Well, that's so unfair because we have to find things to do together, and all these other things. That's codependency.
Mhm.
Not everything has to be together. We don't have to watch every fucking series together. We don't have that. It's not. That's not what makes the relationship. What makes the relationship is two people that are able to respect each other's differences and, like I said, the multitudes of different aspects that they
Mhm.
possess.
And loving, accepting you for, like, exactly who you are without trying to
Change you,
change you.
control you, manipulate, gaslight, turn you or mold you into anything or something that is going to be beneficial to me. But I hope that everybody enjoyed the reading, and I know it was a little long, but you know how
Sorry.
we do. Um, I love y'all guys, and we'll be back. We already have the other date scheduled, so we'll probably do the promotion early. But I know that when that happens, a lot of people forget. But you can reach out to the Soul Shifter on YouTube for her, deets and all of that on how you get readings or her website. What is this? TheSoulShifter.com?
The Soul Shifter Revolution.
Okay, and so they can tap in with you and do all of that. And you already know my credentials are down in the description box. Private readings, Patreon, Facebook is all there. I hope you guys enjoyed the reading. Always allow your inner celestial light to shine, whether it's from a low vibration or high vibration, because baby, you're either somebody's lesson or you're learning them. So we love y'all, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.